Hello everyone, I am Dr. Suja Murthy. I am a consultant pediatrician at Holy Spirit Hospital. I would like to give some information on coronavirus in children. Coronavirus is an RNA virus and it is like our other viruses that we know of, that is HIV, measles, dengue, influenza, varicella, chickenpox. Now what is particular about viruses is that they are very highly infectious. So that's why the spread is very rapid. Most of them spread through respiratory secretions, and that is why contact tracing is very important in such cases. There is less use of antivirals which is used in these viral infections, and that's why there are no specific drugs which can be used. It's only in complicated cases or in very immunocompromised people that medicines are used. In children particularly, because they are prone to getting viral infections at a younger age, that's why their immunity is comparatively better for corona than adults. Also, since they are vaccinated against some of these viral infections, that's why there is some role of that also. The virus spreads through respiratory droplets. So what are respiratory droplets? When we speak or we cough or we sneeze, the saliva is released which contains these virus particles. So this saliva is known to spread for a longer distance of up to 3 to 4 meters, 6 feet. That is why you have to keep a safe distance. In dry climate, the particles that get desiccated and then they can be carried for a wider area. When these particles settle down, these are known as fomites. So when a person goes and touches these fomites, these virus particles, they come on the hand, and then when you touch your face, mouth, they spread it and cause infection. So this is how the viral infection spreads. Around 90% of the children 90 to 95% have very mild symptoms, and 5 to 10% have moderate to severe symptoms which may require hospitalization. Of all the countries, the incidence of infection in children has been around 1 to 6% of adults. Now why is it so? Because children already get infected with multiple viruses in childhood, so their immunity is much better. Also, they have received vaccinations for viral infections, which provides them protection, and the severity is less because there is something known as ACE receptors in the lungs of adults, which makes them more prone to getting severe COVID disease, which is not absent in children, and that's why children don't get very severe disease. Now, after the second wave, there has been a lot of anxiety about this third wave, or if there will be any more waves, and will it affect children more. As the number of cases increases, proportionately the number of children increases, and then the number of hospitalizations increase. There is no need to worry per se. The third wave entirely depends on us, and it's our collective responsibility on maintaining all the protocols of COVID, and we surely can reduce the number of cases. Most of the children get mild symptoms, mild viral symptoms, which they usually get most of the time in every season, like flu-like illnesses. So usually it is fever, sore throat, running nose, a mild cough, coryza, some rash on the body, vomiting, loose motions. Very rarely, some children can develop severe symptoms of pneumonia with breathlessness, lethargy, irritability, especially in newborns, refusal of feed, or there is something known as multi-system inflammatory syndrome, which is known as MIS. MIS-C is multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, and MIS-N in newborns. So in this, what happens is, after the initial COVID infection, which may be mild or asymptomatic, after that, usually within 2 to 12 weeks, a child gets repeated episode of illness. So they may get fever, which may last for more than 3 days, rash over the body, irritability, refusal to eat or drink, lethargy, may get seizures, swelling in the body, which may suggest cardiac dysfunction, decreased urinary output, or any other severe symptoms. So this is a worrisome or a severe form of manifestation for which medical attention has to be taken immediately. Testing in children has to be done as in adults. So if there is a contact in the family, we can do a test, or if the child has any of the above symptoms which I mentioned. Incubation period is something from the start of infection to the manifestation of symptoms. So it's usually between 2 to 14 days. So whenever somebody is exposed to a patient of corona and then he starts developing symptoms, that is between 2 to 14 days. So if there are any of these symptoms, then it is advisable to get basic tests and investigations done and meet the concerned doctor or pediatrician. This is a chart that we will be providing. We will mention what are the red flag signs you need to look out for children and then immediately rush to the hospital. Vaccination for children hasn't been processed and approved yet. It is still in the trial phase. What we need to remember is to complete our routine vaccinations of all the vaccines which have to be taken in the first 2 years and follow up at 4.5 and 10 years, which may have been pending because of the lockdown and unavailability of doctors or not able to go to the hospital. Flu vaccine or influenza vaccine has been recommended by IAP for all children less than 5 years or high-risk children, like children who have congenital diseases, congenital problems of the kidney, of the heart, or children who are obese, who may be more prone to getting infections. So flu vaccine does not protect against corona, but it will reduce the symptoms of flu, seasonal flu, which is normally seen in this season, and those then they will not mimic like corona. So any symptom of fever, generally the parents panic that this may be COVID. So when you give a flu vaccine, at least the flu symptoms are less, so then you will have less anxiety and the child is otherwise well. The COVID vaccine is still in the trial phase. The difference between the vaccination in children and adults is the children have a very good innate immunity. So their body itself has a good immune response. So the dose required of the vaccine may be less. It may not be the same as adults, and the number of doses required will be less. Also, we need to see how the body reacts and what all complications can happen. You should not panic or rush to take any COVID vaccination. In the meanwhile, all the adults above 18 years should complete their courses so that the incidence of COVID in the family is less, which puts the children less at risk of getting COVID from the family. The routine which we have been hearing since 1.5 years, masks, that is, wear a proper mask which covers the nose and the mouth and it is closed from the sides. It has always to be above the nose, and do not touch the mask when your one's outside and keep on adjusting it. Wear a good one which is you're comfortable with and do not touch it later. Once you go home, remove the mask, dispose it, wash your hands, then do everything else. Hand hygiene is the most important because I said we spoke about fomites and how the respiratory droplets settle on things. So that is why whenever you touch in public places or any table, chair or anybody else's things, always sanitize your hands or wash with soap and water nicely so the any organism gets killed. Distance, again we spoke about respiratory droplets, how they travel up to 3 meters, 6 feet. That's why distance has to be maintained, and they want to go down to play, they have to wear a mask, maintain a distance and then let them play. Vaccination, we already spoke about vaccination. Adults to be complete the vaccination. Children complete their routine immunization schedules, take the flu shot if possible. Now many people have been asking me about improving the immunity in children. Generally children have a good immunity. So if their diet is a proper balanced diet which contains vegetables, green vegetables, leafy as well as other vegetables, colored vegetables like carrots, beetroots, all seasonal fruits, sprouts, okay, milk products, these substances increase the multivitamins, zinc in the body, vitamin C, citrus fruits. So a well balanced diet, 3 to 4 portions of fruits and vegetables every day, enough water, drink plenty of water. They can go out in the sunlight for half an hour, 1 hour every day to play with friends or from far away just for a walk or a physical activity that improves the vitamin D. And these are the basic measures to improve the immunity. Do not use kada or homemade recipes on children. Though as adults we may be able to take it, the child may not be able to tolerate it, and especially if they are sick and we try and force these kadas down their mouth, they may start vomiting or get loose motions, and that will again cause complications in illness which was otherwise mild and wouldn't have caused any problem. Always follow up with your pediatrician or the doctor or family doctor and follow whatever medicines they have been suggested by them. the treatment in children for COVID is usually symptomatic. So in mild and moderate symptoms, we give only symptomatic medicines like paracetamol for fever, nasal sprays for any nose block, or a cough syrup or mucolytic agent if there is a cough. Only in severe cases or MISC cases, then they have to be hospitalized and they would require oxygen or other medicines which have to be given under the supervision of a pediatrician in a tertiary or a pediatric hospital. Unlike adults, the medicines in children is different because it's more of immunological response and the medicines are different. So they cannot be given routinely, orally or at home. They have to be given under the supervision of a pediatrician in a tertiary hospital. So kindly do not panic or do not read up too much on that. Follow the doctor's advice and visit the hospital if any danger signs observed. So I would like to end this by a quote by John Donne which says, "No man is an island, every man is a piece of the continent. So never send to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." We are responsible for our welfare and our entire universe welfare. So we should take that responsibly and protect everyone. Thank you.